Hi everybody, Bryant Greening from LegalRideshare. Thanks so much for joining us today. I am here with Casey from Driver. Casey, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Brian.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, like I said, my name is Bryant Greening and I am a co-founder of LegalRideshare. We are the first law firm in the United States that's entirely dedicated to Uber and Lyft and gig work related accident and injury claims. So we help drivers after accidents and help them ensure to get medical bills paid, lost wages recovered, pain and suffering, things of that nature. And a lot of our work overlaps with Casey's over at Driver, in that we're always looking for evidence of what happens during an accident. Casey, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. So again, I'm Casey at Driver Technologies. I'm the community manager. I focus on primarily communication from anyone who's using the app back to our company, trying to improve everything. Many people watching here probably know me from the Driver Insiders Group, which is an exclusive program that we have that gives additional perks to users to try out extra safety features, which we'll talk about in a bit. Driver's been around since 2018. And we can definitely talk more about it, but we like dash cams, and we like using dash cams to help people in legal matters. So I know that's how we got in touch, and we've been working together ever since.
You know, it's really impressive what you guys have done in such a relatively short period of time, the technology that you've put together. We have seen the results from Driver in terms of footage that comes in and the evidence that it provides. And it's so valuable to us on the legal side. It really makes or breaks a case for a driver. You know, if you don't have the footage, your insurance claim might not be covered. And as soon as you have it, all of a sudden you're getting all the benefits that you're entitled to.
Exactly. No, for sure. For sure. It's, yeah, having video evidence is just something, dash cams have been around for a while, but just they've become so popular in recent years for obvious reasons, especially for the rideshare industry, who takes extra risks, in their job and on the road. So we work a lot with rideshare drivers and anyone as well who wants to protect themselves on the road. So no, it's been great so far, and we're becoming more and more popular. People are seeing us as an option, and it's been great.
Yeah, there's a lot of dash cameras on the market right now, and we tell drivers first and foremost, you need one. I mean, that's the most important thing. We would recommend Driver, but putting a dash cam in your car is really the single most important thing that a rideshare driver can do. We at LegalRideshare, we look at it from the angle of evidence and deterrence. We're in Chicago, so we have some crime here. I'm sure you've heard. There's some carjackings that have been going on, and what we found is that drivers that have dash cameras and have signs on their cars that say, be aware you're on camera, are being targeted less often than drivers without. We see that drivers with the dash cameras are actually able to deter potential bad actors from targeting them, whether it's a carjacking, harassment, assault, robbery, you can name it. That camera really scares people, and it puts them in a position where they need to make a decision. Am I going to act right and not commit a crime that I know I'm going to get caught for, or am I going to take the chance? And most people really aren't willing to take that chance when push comes to shove. The other avenue that we look at is evidence. I was telling you earlier, Casey, that so many cases are made or broken based on the evidence that we have at hand. When there's a car accident, when, say, both drivers say the other one had a red light and there's a T-bone and a collision, well, if it's a he said, she said situation, most of the time there's not really available insurance coverage for you. You're going to go through your own insurance. Maybe they'll cover the property damage. Your injury probably won't be covered. But if you can show that the other driver was at fault, it changes the entire dynamic of the case. So can you tell us just a little bit about the technology, what makes Driver so valuable to the gig workers?
Yeah, of course. And just to tag off what you said, um, dash cams is the best witness that you could possibly have, right? Otherwise, it's just he said, she said, video evidence, right? That's what you make. So yeah, what makes us a little bit different is part of our one of our goals at Driver, of course, is to promote driver safety through technology. And we do that through an app on your phone. So we like to call it democratizing safety. How do we push a product to people to encourage them to be safer on the roads? And how do we do that in scale? And how do we make it affordable? So of course, the piece of technology that most people have today is a cell phone. And rideshare drivers specifically have smartphones. Um, so what we did is just use the phone's internal components to make a dash cam out of it. Of course, it's free, so anyone who wants to download it can go ahead and get it directly on their phone. And then all they need to do is just mount it in a position that is visible on the road. And then they can, use it as a dash cam, just like you would if you bought one, except you're saving hundreds of dollars by using the app instead. Of course, we have a bunch of additional features as well, including the driver cloud, we like to call it, where you can upload all of your trips off your device because you do use it for other things. And you're able to go a little bit more in depth about the trips that you took, not only video, but telematics, speed, any sort of situations that happened on the road, G-force, which creates a really good story of any sort of accident or incident that happened. So it's amazing this thing that you carry in your pocket is capable of doing all these things, which is why I believe our product is just becoming so popular, especially as new rideshare drivers who might just be getting into this career. They don't want to go out and spend $400 on a dash cam, and why should they when they have something that can be just as good right in their pocket?
Yeah. The cost, I think, is really important to touch on. I've been telling drivers for years that the dash camera is worth the money. If it costs you $400 or if it costs you $100 or whatever it is, it's the cost of doing business. But here you are, you're making it free. So when I say it's worth every penny, that would actually be too much.
You got it.
So it's great that you guys are giving access to every person in this industry. The pieces of evidence that you're talking about it's music to my ears. As a personal injury attorney, I hear the arguments that the insurance companies try to make against an injured person and say, well, the accident was their fault or the accident wasn't so bad. Your technology is solving those problems. When I bring in a case and there's minimal property damage, for instance, I know what the insurance company is going to say at when I'm trying to settle the case. How did your client need all this treatment when there's a paint transfer on the back bumper? Well, you're going to provide the G-force. And that's showing that, yes, we might not see a bunch of impact, but this driver felt it. And then I can bring in a doctor and I can say, hey, doc, let me give you the statistics of this accident. You don't have to just rely on what the driver said it felt like, but here's the science behind it. Can you tell me what that means in terms of the body? And they can actually then counter the insurance company's position. And that means real dollars for the driver. That means instead of talking about not all your medical bills getting paid, we're talking about all the medical bills getting paid, all the wage loss getting paid, all your pain and suffering coming in. So there's real value here. And we're just really impressed with what you guys are putting into the pockets of rideshare drivers and the tools that you're providing to the people who represent them.
Yeah, for sure. And one last thing here is, you could always argue that newer vehicles too are, integrating, cameras into their vehicles, but that's not the case for interior footage. And as we all know, especially for rideshare drivers. There's almost more incidences in the vehicle than there are outside the vehicle, where in that case, you almost need you need a dash cam to protect yourself in the car. So again, using your phone's capabilities to record inside and outside the vehicle at the same time is just another way that we can protect our drivers, especially rideshare drivers.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The in-cabin feature of the dash camera is important when it comes to assaults, batteries, false accusations, and it also captures the rear of the car and things that approach from the rear. So we've had cases that involved assaults on drivers where we can show that the passenger reached up and hit the driver, or we can show that the passenger said, "I'm going to tell Uber that you were driving drunk because you didn't listen to the directions that I was giving you," something like that. That's real evidence that provides support for the driver, and that's real money and real results that we can put in their pocket. And in the same vein, when we have a rear-end car accident, when we're trying to figure out exactly how a collision took place, we can see from the in-cab footage that driver approaching from the rear. So it just provides a benefit whether we're talking about assaults, batteries, deactivations, or car accidents. It's all valuable.
100%.
Yeah, so one thing that we've been talking about accidents so much, I think it's important from our side to talk about what we recommend drivers do after an accident. What happens at the scene is vital. The camera's going to capture the facts of the crash. That's great. But we also want to preserve other evidence. So we recommend that you call the police after a car accident. You're going to want to bring them to the scene if they're willing to come. Sometimes the police will say, just drive to the police station and we'll handle the report there. But if you can convince them to come to the scene, that's really valuable because they'll get to talk to the witnesses. They'll get to see the parties to this collision right afterwards. They'll get to look at the property damage and any marks on the road or broken glass. So while it may be a pain, it may mean that you have to cut your night a little bit short, we always recommend calling the police and making that report. We also recommend that you never admit fault. Even if you think that you may have had some responsibility in the collision, you can be polite, you can make sure that everybody's okay, but you never tell anybody, this was my fault, I'm sorry, I'm the one who wasn't paying attention, I'm the one who ran the red light, whatever it may be. The lawyers and the insurance companies are the ones who will decide that fact, and even when you think that you were the one that was responsible, we might find ways to help benefit you after the fact. We also recommend getting witnesses' information at the scene. So drivers who have just been involved in accidents, there's obviously a lot of tension, there's a lot of emotions running wild, and sometimes they forget to turn around and ask their passenger, hey, can I get your name and phone number in case I need you as a witness later to what occurred? That's going to be extremely valuable because I can tell you from firsthand experience that Uber and Lyft don't give that information up freely. If you don't get your passengers' information at the scene, it's going to be much more difficult to get later. And obviously, those are eyewitnesses who are going to support your case. I apologize if that was a little bit of a tangent, but we're talking so much about accidents and injuries. I wanted to throw out a couple pieces of advice that I think could be valuable to the viewers. So Casey, can you just tell me what's going on? What are the next steps for Driver? Where do you guys see yourselves going in the next little bit?
Oh my goodness, it's been incredible. There's so many different directions that we're trying to go and trying to do it all at the same time. It's been a challenge, but I think we've had great success, especially due to our our driver insiders group who gets all these exclusive perks and whatnot and gets to test all of our newest features first. And it's been fantastic and it's been great to work with them. Of course, to go off of what you said about what to do after an accident. Of course, most people think of dash cams as not so much preventative, but how do you help yourself after an incident? And we've really tried to focus on making it easy to set yourself up to defend yourself in case something happens. but as well as what do you do after the fact? And a perk that we've given to the Driver Insiders program with the hopes to expand something similar to it for all of the drivers using driver dash cam is this accident aid feature where we go and lists specifically those tips that you said what to do just in case you forget in the moment. But then we go and we take it a step further. And you can go and either request legal assistance or get a guide in terms of what you should do next. But then you can also request a video retrieval from us via the driver cloud, which I'll explain more in a minute. But we're able to provide not only that footage, but again, the G-force data, the speed, the direction you are going, and we'll go and make a report for you, and we'll even build a demonstration, I guess, of a reenactment, if you will, of what happened in that accident. So we're really excited about that. I know a lot of insiders have already utilized that feature so far. We've only had it live for I think about 2 weeks now. So again, just another thing that we're trying to do in terms of how to defend you afterwards. That's definitely not the only project we're working on. Again, back to preventative safety. We do also forward collision warnings. So drivers not only just recording what's in front of you, it's also identifying the things in front of you. For example, vehicles, stop signs, animals, whatever it is, and it's able to determine the distance from you and that object and try and give you a warning if it thinks you are going to collide possibly with that vehicle. And the most recent thing is, that's exterior, and we're trying to get into drowsy driving alerts as well. I don't even think the insiders group knows about that yet, but we're super excited about that. The technology in it is just incredible. We have an incredible team, and they'll hear more about that. I don't want to go into too many details and overpromise anything, but no, it's fantastic. It's been great.
This technology, again, it's unbelievable. And we've seen these reports that have been produced. The SOS feature that you guys have on there, which gets drivers in connection with LegalRideshare, really provides drivers immediate access to help. And what we've seen is when a driver requests aid, you send us a copy of the accident, a copy of the G-forces, a copy of the speed, and we can then dissect that information and actually advise the driver on how to answer questions when talking to the insurance companies or the police. And it's just so valuable to be able to have that legal consultation before you have to make any statements to anybody about what occurred. You're ahead of the game. When we talk about making statements to insurance companies or to police, it's one of those anything you say can and will be used against you. So to have the lawyer by your side from the get-go really adds benefit, and then we can help direct your case in the most efficient, profitable way for you. Several of the drivers that we've spoken with have retained our services. Others have decided that, with our advice, that you don't even need a lawyer for this one. You can handle it yourself, but here's how to do it. So whether it's giving advice and then sending somebody on their way to handle it themselves in an efficient way, or actually retaining our services, which, by the way, don't cost anything out of pocket, you're getting instant access to help, and that's just another benefit of this program and of this technology, and we're so excited to be involved with it.
And that's why we're excited to work with LegalRideshare. You guys are just fantastic. And, even if the services aren't used, just providing a direction for people who, pretty much just had their world turned upside down, and give them a little bit of guidance goes a long way.
Yeah, so many drivers are concerned about the repercussions of an accident, whether it means deactivation from the platform or out-of-pocket medical costs. And just to have an attorney come in and explain to you what the process looks like, what you can expect, gives so much peace of mind and also opens up so many doors. So let me give you an example. Many drivers are, get injured in an accident, they're feeling neck or back pain, but they think to themselves, I don't have health insurance. So how am I going to handle this? I'll tough it out, and hopefully I get better in a few days. When you call my office, I'm going to be able to explain that there are doctors who we're connected to who would happily provide you with care that you need, whether you have insurance or not, so that you can make sure that, one, you're safe and you're healthy, and two, if you need treatment down the road, you haven't excluded yourself from that opportunity by waiting too long. So I can set you up with the resources that you need to ensure that you're healthy and that you're making a strong insurance claim down the road. So we just encourage, reach out. Whatever happens, whether you use us or don't use us, the consultation's always free, but we're going to help put you on the right path so that you don't make any mistakes that can hurt you later should the injury worsen or not get better in the way that you would expect.
100%. Never second guess. Get yourself checked.
That's what we say. So, Casey, in terms of rideshare's technology, the application, what's the best way for a driver to access that?
Yeah, for sure. So you'll find us right on the App Store, either on iOS or Android. Type in driver, dash cam, and roadside. We'll pop up right there. Again, it's free to download. Go ahead and install. If for some reason you need a mount to mount it, we have a very affordable mount that you could purchase, and you can find the link directly. Yep, there it is.
There it is.
Directly on our app. So we recommend that one too, just because it's one, it's affordable, of course, has our name on it, and two, we find it to just be the best overall for our purpose.
We've got some in our Chicago office if anybody wants to stop by that's in the neighborhood. We're right down from Wrigley Field, so feel free to come by in between innings. So
I love it. And sorry, if you're ever interested in anything else that we're doing, you can always visit our website at drivertechnologies.com.
Great. So I think we wanted to open it up. If there were any questions, I think now would be a good opportunity. Have we heard from anybody? Okay, here's one. So we've got a question where somebody chimed in asking, what do we do in terms of a deactivation with regard to the driver app? Well, that's another example of how this application can really benefit you in a deactivation situation. So I use the example of a false accusation. So we had a client one time, it was actually an injury case, but the person later let us know my passenger said that they were going to report me for a car that smelled like weed and saying that I was drunk behind the wheel. And the reason for that is because I wasn't letting them eat in my vehicle. So we said, well, first of all, that's ridiculous that they're going to make this accusation that could affect your livelihood. Let's pull the film. So we got the video, and we actually heard this conversation take place. We heard the driver politely asking the passenger to not eat in his car. We saw the passenger pull out food. We heard the driver admittedly get a little upset and say, I'm not allowing this to happen. I'm going to end the ride. And then we heard the passenger respond with, I'm going to report you for DUI. So we were able to send that footage to the rideshare company, and all of a sudden, problem solved. We see that the driver was in the right, the passenger was in the wrong, and any accusation that got the driver kicked off was refuted. So, it's just one example of how this footage can be used.
For sure. And I know another problem that a lot of drivers have is a lot of the times, by the time they do get deactivated, it's multiple days after the incident. And a lot of the times with their standard cameras that just have an SD card, that trip may be long gone unless they saved it. So we're definitely making a push on our end with our driver cloud, where if you think something might be interesting, not only is it there for much longer, well past it being off the device, but you can go and you can actually favorite save that trip and protect it from ever going anywhere in case you do need it.
Yeah, so I just saw another one here. Driver gets in a hit and run accident, doesn't understand exactly how they're going to handle the insurance claim. It's unfortunately something that happens very often. I can't tell you how many times we see uninsured drivers on the road or hit and run accidents. The answer to the question really depends on the period of your operation of the rideshare vehicle. So if you're in period 1, where there's no passenger in your car, you're not connected with a passenger, but rather you're just kind of cruising around waiting for a fare, most of the time your insurance coverage is going to come from your personal insurance. So that's why it's really important that you take out the proper insurance coverage from the get-go. Make sure that they know you're doing rideshare work. Yes, it might cost you a few more dollars every month, but this is your business, and you need to make sure that business continues, so it's worth the cost. You'll go through your personal auto insurance, and they will hopefully pay to fix your vehicle repairs. In the same vein as the rideshare endorsement that I was just talking about, you'll want to make sure that you have collision coverage on your vehicle that provides coverage for damage to your car. If you don't have that coverage, your vehicle's not getting repaired. Whether you're on the app, off the app, doesn't matter. There's not going to be coverage for you in that scenario. So that, in addition to the dash camera, is going to be one of the most important things that you can buy to ensure that you're protected on the road. If the hit and run or the uninsured motorist accident happens while you're in periods 2 or 3, you're going to use the rideshare insurance company as your primary source of recovery. So you'll give them a call, and they will check your personal policy to make sure that you've got that collision coverage that I was just talking about, and then the rideshare company will pick it up. So great question, thank you. So Casey, I just saw or got a notification here that looks like we're getting tight on time. So I wanted to thank you so much for taking the opportunity to speak with me and to all the audience members. And thanks everybody for joining us. Casey, I'll give you the last word.
Yes, thank you. No, this is great. And I just wanted to reiterate to all my, all the people using the driver app who are watching this right now, you don't have to be a rideshare driver to get assistance from LegalRideshare. They will protect you no matter what. So I just want to make that clear. But otherwise, again, download our app, Driver Dash Cam and Roadside, on either Android or iOS. See what we're up to at drivertechnologies.com, and go and protect yourself.
Thanks, Casey. All right, bye everybody.